And Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer before steroids. So you could put them in the Hall of Fame and just put an asterisk next to their name, but to try to get us to forget about them and their greatness while you've profited off of them is egregious. And by the way, neither of them should be in the Hall ahead of Pete Rose. It's time for the world to forgive him.
Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens just got shut out of the Hall of Fame by the Contemporary Era Committee, fewer than 5 votes each, and now they're locked out of consideration until at least 2031. A 6-year freeze designed to run out the clock on the greatest hitter and greatest pitcher in baseball history. This is Coach's Tape by Baseball Authority. Let's dig in. December 7th, 2025. 14 voters elected Jeff Kent to the Hall of Fame. Bonds and Clemens, fewer than 5 votes each. Under a new rule, any candidate receiving fewer than 5 votes is barred from consideration on the next ballot cycle. Bonds and Clemens won't be eligible again until 2031. That's a 6-year freeze. By then, they'll be in their late 60s. Let's be clear about what Bonds and Clemens represent. Barry Bonds, 762 home runs, the all-time record. 7 MVP awards, more than any player in history. A .298 career average, 514 intentional walks, 16 straight All-Star selections. The most dominant hitter of his era, and possibly of all time. Roger Clemens, 354 wins, 4,672 strikeouts, both among the all-time top 5. 7 Cy Young awards, more than any pitcher in history. 9 All-Star selections, 2 World Series rings, the most dominant pitcher of his era, and possibly of all time. You cannot tell the story of baseball without these 2 names. They defined the sport for 20 years. Officially, the reason is PED use. Bonds and Clemens are credibly linked to steroid use. Bonds through the Balco investigation, Clemens through the Mitchell report. The voters say they can't induct known steroid users. It damages the integrity of the game. It sends the wrong message. Character matters. Fair points, except Gaylord Perry is in the Hall of Fame. He wrote a book called Me and the Spitter, where he admitted throwing illegal spitballs for his entire career. He cheated openly. He was ejected multiple times for doctoring baseballs. He bragged about it in his autobiography. So cheating the rules of the game is fine if you do it with a funny story, but it's disqualifying if you use steroids. Cap Anson is in the Hall of Fame. He was one of the architects of the color line that kept black players out of baseball for decades. He refused to take the field against black competitors. He used his influence to enforce segregation. If integrity and character matter, how was the man that enforced racial segregation honored in Cooperstown? Orlando Cepeda is in the Hall of Fame. He served 10 months in federal prison for smuggling drugs. He later rehabilitated himself and became a respected elder statesman of the game. But he committed a federal crime and went to prison. If Barry Bonds' steroid use disqualifies him, how does federal drug trafficking, an actual felony, get a pass? He enabled the very behavior Bonds is being punished for. He benefited from it, and the Hall rewarded him for it. Ivan Rodriguez was named by Jose Canseco as someone he personally injected with steroids. Pudge is in the Hall of Fame, first ballot. Mike Piazza admitted to using androstenedione and faced heavy suspicion. He's in the Hall. Jeff Bagwell faced similar questions. He's in the Hall. Why? Because voters like them. Big Papi is beloved and a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he reportedly failed the same 2003 survey test that Alex Rodriguez and Sammy Sosa failed. Commissioner Rob Manfred gave him a pass, saying the test was unreliable, so Ortiz gets grace and the benefit of the doubt. But let's be honest about what's happening here. This isn't about integrity or character. This is about scapegoating. The Hall of Fame made a decision. The steroid era embarrassed us. We need villains. We need someone to hold accountable. And Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are perfect because they were difficult personalities. They broke records, and they're not beloved, so they became sacrificial lambs. The Hall gets to pretend it has high moral standards, while selectively applying them to players it doesn't like. Meanwhile, Gaylord Perry gets to be a cheater and a Hall of Famer. Orlando Cepeda gets to be a federal convict and a Hall of Famer. Cap Anson gets to be a segregationist and a Hall of Famer. Hypocrisy on steroids. Here's the question. When 2031 comes around, will Bonds and Clemens even get a fair shot? They'll be 67 and 69 years old. Will voters say, well, they're old now, so let's let them in? Or will they say, we already decided no? And in 6 years, how many new stories will emerge? How many voters will retire? How much will the narrative shift? You cannot tell the story of baseball without Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. They hold the most important records in the sport. But the Hall has decided that integrity matters, except when it doesn't. Except when you're a Hall of Famer already inside. Except when you're nice enough, or old enough, or profitable enough. That's not the Hall of Fame. That's the Hall of convenient morality. That's the story. That's Coach's Tape. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that subscribe button. I know this is a divisive topic, but I want to know what you think. Drop a comment below. Do you believe Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame? Or do you think they should stay out? Drop your take in the comments and grab some baseball authority gear at baseballauthority.com. We'll see you next time.